Here are 3 mounted arm bars that you should know how to do for the street. Now, the reason I bring this up is I had seen a video of 2 kids that got into a fight at school. One kid had thrown a headbutt at the other guy, which immediately just like triggered his jiu-jitsu competition mode. He throws a nice hip toss, gets the guy to the ground, throws on your standard like mounted armbar, which again is great for sport, but not necessarily great for the street for 2 big reasons. Number 1, when I get to this position, again, as effective as this armbar and break can be, I'm completely exposed. My back's on the ground. I'm not in a position to be able to pop back up to my feet. And if someone decided to just kind of run in and help this guy out, I'm not in a position to really defend myself. Number 2, if I lose control of this armbar at any point, I've now also completely lost control of this position. If I'm ripping this, which in the video you'll see them kind of just like scrambling around, if at any point Cash or the guy in the video ends up stacking me, right, and is able to kind of pull his arm free, I now just went from what could have been a dominant position to now I'm on my back getting pummeled with punches. And again, this is just a one-on-one. If we add in multiple people from here, again, I'm in a really bad spot. So instead, if I manage to get to a mounted position in the street, I want to be able to control and maintain the position at all times. And if we're talking about jiu-jitsu for self-defense, the biggest thing to understand is that we have to be able to control the position at the end of the day. So when I get to mount, no matter what I decide to go for, whether it's shoulder locks, arm bars, chokes, whatever I need to do to control or end the violent attack, I need to make sure that at the end of the day, I'm able to control the position, which means when I'm falling off to the side and getting onto my back, I've already potentially given up the position unless I'm able to guarantee that I hit that armbar. So I'm gonna give you 3 different arm bars that allow me to stay in mount. And if I lose control of the armbar, at the very least, I can immediately look to post back out. I can still maintain top pressure. I can easily look to crossface, control the head again. I can isolate arms, and I can go right back to doing what I was exactly doing without ever really giving up my position. So the first one we're gonna go for is kind of like what I call like the extended armbar. And essentially, again, what I want to do is once I've secured the crossface, I try to ride a little bit more of a higher mount, which means that I'm, again, trying to elevate their elbows a little bit. One, this prevents them from being able to access their waistline a little bit, but it also makes it a lot easier for me to start isolating and controlling their arms. So when I'm doing this first arm bar, I want to make sure that I'm kind of peeling right along at the elbow, especially if they're keeping this arm nice and tight. We call it like checking the time, right? I'm going to go palm down, peeling at the elbow, spider walk my hand up until the arm starts kind of popping up a little bit. And I'm just gonna kind of work on trying to get this arm extended. A lot of times when they feel this arm kind of curling up, he may also try to extend that arm as well, just to try and work it out, which will allow me to start activating the arm bar anyways. But anyway, once you get the arm extended, I'm now going to take my crossface arm, bring it around to the front, and I'm going to secure the wrist or the palm, whichever you prefer. And I'm looking to just kind of control this arm on the ground. You may also kind of utilize like a flashlight grip and kind of just post and extend that arm out a little bit. Again, it doesn't really matter. At this point, before I even start going for the armbar, I need to make sure that I still apply some form of cross-face pressure because again, now both my arms are occupied over here. And if I get too focused over here, I'm allowing him the ability to start popping up. So when I start extending this arm, I'm also now going to start kind of shifting my hips and driving my hips across on my side across his face. Now notice that my hip is now on the far quadrant of the body here. I've still got a tight hip pressure over here. I've got my knee position over here and my elbows posted up here. So I am controlling all 4 quadrants of the mounted position, which again makes it difficult for him to be able to get out of this spot. Now, once I'm in this position, now I can start actually going for the extended armbar. So again, it doesn't matter which arm you use to isolate the wrist, but once you've isolated it, your opposite hand's gonna come right underneath. Ideally, you wanna go between the elbow and the tricep. And at this point, I'm just looking to secure a grip on my forearm. At this point, I'm going to look to press their hand down to the ground as I start elevating my forearm up, and we can get the tap from there. Now again, why are we doing mounted arm bars or any sort of arm bar pressure from like mount in self-defense situations? It could be pain compliance. It could be a situation where maybe this guy draws a weapon. I need to isolate the weapon. Maybe I need to break the arm for the situation. Like there's a lot of reasons of why we may need to kind of go for pain compliance or joint controls rather than just sitting here and just beating the crap out of the person. So again, with this one, peel the arm, shift that hip pressure, get that arm posted down, secure the grip, apply the pressure. And again, as we mentioned, if I lose this position for whatever reason, I can still like get a nice tight grip on the arm. I can immediately recover with a good crossface, and I can come right back into a good mounted position. And I can even with that specific arm bar, I can immediately transition to a nice like arm triangle, which we just kind of did in the last video. I'll post it down below. Or even better, if I am trying to do this arm bar and he starts trying to like twist his arm out of it, I can easily switch like an Americana or even a Kimura, depending which way his arm's positioned. So this is a nice one to use because you do have options to hit off of it in case he's able to get out of that. Now, number 2 is gonna be from a tactical mount. Now, what typically happens when you get somebody that isn't 100% sure what to do from these positions is they tend to kind of just push off of you a little bit, right? It's very common that they wanna push you off. So when I feel this pressure, I'm gonna get behind one of their arms, right behind the tricep again. I'm gonna drive their arm all the way across. I'm immediately gonna look to trap my chest behind so that they can't bring this arm back. At this point, I'm gonna secure a good crossface. I'm gonna look to secure the wrist. If I need to, I can also kind of push down the elbow a little bit. Once I've secured the wrist, I'm gonna start kind of pulling through. I'm gonna take that opposite leg, start bringing it high and tight behind his shoulder and his head a little bit so that, again, he can't come back into me. And I'm gonna start kind of rotating and twisting his body away from me so that now I've secured a tactical mount, technical mount, whichever you wanna call it. And I'm just gonna kind of control the position. Now, yes, this could be a gift wrap position. You have tons of options off of here. But let's just talk about the armbar that we have from here. At this point, what I want to do is actually take my opposite hand now, and I'm looking to get a nice firm grip underneath the forearm. Now, if I'm pulling too tight, what I'm going to do is simply just kind of punch this arm through to create a little bit of space, come in, secure the nice tight grip on the forearm so that, again, he can't get this arm back. At this point, I'm now going to post his head to the ground. As I'm posting the head to the ground, I'm going to switch to like a curling motion, and I'm going to pull this arm straight up and keep it nice and tight to my chest. At this point, start bringing that knee nice and tightly in so that, again, I can start controlling the shoulder a little bit. I'm going to quickly pass the arm behind my tricep so that it's tucked under my armpit. As I now start pinching my knees together, at this point, I still kind of want to post on the head. Now, I can either hip in and get the tap from there, or I can even kind of posture up and just pull back on the arm and we can get the tap from there. But either way, we have a technical armbar. Number 3 is going to be the Z-bar armbar. Now, it's a very similar setup to the technical mount. It's going to go based off, again, once this guy starts kind of posting off of you. What I want to do at this point is, again, take one of the arms. I'm going to clear it all the way across, and I'm going to immediately look to drop my chest. Now, at this point, because typically I want to right away secure the head at this point, I'm going to take my opposite arm, start kind of pulling back on the wrist. Now what I want to do is take my crossface arm. I'm actually going to come all the way around to a reverse crossface, apply a little bit of pressure. Now at this point, I've got a good amount of pressure. He's already kind of feeling a little bit in his shoulders and collarbone area. But if I'm looking for like the armbar finish, I have a few ways. I can either just literally take my elbow and start pulling back this arm a little bit. I can grab the wrist, start pulling it back. If you're feeling fancy, I can scoop underneath, grab the back of my head, and literally just kind of lean up. And either way, we can get the armbar finish from there. So understand, with anything, when we are using jiu-jitsu for self-defense, again, the most important thing to remember is that we have to maintain control of the position at all times, which in this case is mount. I get on top, I'm gonna stay on top, I'm gonna control the mounted position at all times. Depending on how this person's reacting, which again, I'm not looking for a specific armbar, it's all gonna go based off of how he's reacting. If he's keeping his arms nice and tight, okay, then fine. I'm gonna look to start kind of isolating. I'm gonna start shifting my hips a little bit, and I'm gonna start kind of controlling. And again, I'm going to initiate some pain compliance to get this guy to just stop whatever it is that he's trying to do and listen to what we're trying to have him, stay calm, whatever the reason is. If we're in this position, they start kind of just pushing, posting, whatever, then at this point, yeah, I can clear this arm all the way across, and then either I can convert it towards more of like a technical mount. We can go for the technical armbar from here, or I can simply just kind of stay in this mounted position, shift it, and we can go right back to our Z-bar armbar. So you do have options, but again, the beauty of doing these off of mount and understanding how to hit different armbars from this mounted position is that if at any point I'm losing any of these, he starts kind of really bumping, pushing, whatever, I can always post out, and I never lose the position at the end of the day. Give these a shot, stay safe.